It is 2023. It is by all means the future. If you are a person from that grew up in the 1980s, 1990s, the 2020s is definitely the future. It is what you envisioned as a child, as a young person. The very, very future that perhaps that we were going to have such high technology that it would be unrecognizable to someone from the 1980s or 90s. But here we are in 2023, looking back, someone like myself that grew up in the 80s and 90s, looking back at those times, I believe, and I remember, I don't believe, I remember clearly the technologies of the time, the vehicles especially of the time. Vehicles were pretty much as they are today, by and large, except for perhaps electric vehicles. But most of the vehicles on the road right now, 99% of them, are still gasoline driven, unfortunately, or some type of fuel driven like diesel, but most of them gasoline. And their efficiency has not changed that much in the 30 years, 35 years or so that have passed and gone by since the 80s and 90s. Cars and trucks especially are not that much more efficient. Some cars are, yes, a lot more efficient, like hybrid vehicles and vehicles that are highly efficient, such as those vehicles that have a system that switch from 8 cylinders down to 4 in high gears, etc. But those are the very, very minority, the very small minority of the vehicles out on the road. Pickup trucks are larger, they are heavier than before, because they're larger. Pickup trucks are perhaps about half of the vehicles that you see out on the road. Pickup trucks and SUVs combined are probably about half, if not more, of the vehicles out on the road, especially here in this area where I live in the south. And again, they are large and heavy. Many of them not fuel efficient, most of them. Fuel efficiency, in fact, has stagnated over the last 20 years. And that's even though we have been through hell and high water when it comes to energy prices, energy costs. Ever since the mid-2000s, 2005, actually 2004 and up, energy prices have been steadily on the rise, with very few exceptions here and there, a collapse of the energy sector here and there. With very few exceptions, the prices have been climbing and climbing sharply for fuel. And yet vehicles and their efficiency have been stagnated or even declining in some models, some cases, like pickup trucks. So a car from 1985, let's say a small car such as a Japanese model, let's say a Honda, a 1985 Honda, is just as fuel efficient, was just as fuel efficient, perhaps, give or take, 1 or 2 miles per gallon as a Honda today. A 1985 Ford vehicle, car, is just as fuel efficient, or was just as fuel efficient as a car from Ford today. So we have not made much progress, unfortunately, in the grand scheme of things. Yes, again, there are technologies and vehicles out there that are extremely expensive, that are in the very tiny minority, that are fuel efficient. Hybrids, again, electric vehicles, etc., or other models that are very fuel efficient. But again, very few people could afford them. There are very few available on the market. The vast majority are just regular, non-fuel efficient vehicles, because they're cheaper to build. They could be more mass-produced, easier, because the technology has been there for years, decades, and unchanging technology is cheaper than the technology that is new and that has changed, and that is more experimental, more or less reliable. However, all of this is sad news. It is disturbing, because not only have we experienced all of the energy crises and the wars and the conflicts of the last few decades because of fuels, because of fuel reserves, etc. But we've experienced, we have verified and solidified our knowledge that the climate is changing, is warming, because in major part, if not most part, because of emissions from vehicles. Vehicles, I believe, are the number one cause of greenhouse emissions, and only followed by industrial production emissions. So it would be probably natural, you would think, it'd be a natural step to bring efficiency up so rapidly throughout the decades, throughout the last few decades, because of all the conflict, turmoil, all of the spills and natural man-made disasters and catastrophes that have occurred environmentally, because of all of the global warming catastrophes that have happened. Because all of these things, you would think that efficiency would be through the roof right now. But we have something called greed. We have something called the desperate and relentless search for profits, the desperate and relentless and ceaseless search for financial and economic growth from companies, from corporations, from individuals, from families. And that leads to basically the adoption and retention of old technologies, the resistance to change, the resistance to efficiency, because efficiency costs money, costs effort, costs assets and resources. Therefore, the lazy way is to be wasteful, and the way to keep producing profits is to be wasteful in many instances. So that's what most companies have chosen, to be lazy, wasteful, and to just keep growing financially. And that is sad and disturbing all at once. And that is why I believe mostly we are where we are. That we have gas guzzling trucks, SUVs, and cars running around even at this late day of age. In 2023, we have a whole array of gas guzzling pickup trucks running around making all kinds of noise, spewing all kinds of smoke and toxins into the air, because our governments, our leadership, the people have not demanded, have not required those corporations to produce efficient vehicles, clean vehicles, etc. Hydrogen technology is just sitting on the sidelines right now. It has been developed, almost very advanced development. It has been made, I believe, affordable, and not only affordable but viable, a viable technology, but it is sitting on the sidelines, forgotten, because people and industry alike want to hang on to fossil fuel based vehicles, gas driven vehicles, for whatever reason. Electric cars are just a tiny minority of the industry, because people want to hang on to, and corporations push to hang on to fossil fuels, what they know for sure is going to make them money. Never mind the environment, never mind the wars and the death and destruction and the suffering that fossil fuels has brought about worldwide in the last 100 years. Never mind the natural catastrophes that it has brought about, the spills, the genocide of entire species in entire regions, both on land and in the oceans. Never mind all that. Say the companies and say the people. Let's keep making profits. Let's keep growing. Let's keep plundering, burning, and cutting down forests, wiping out entire areas of trees, of life, of animal life, wiping out many indigenous communities, evacuating or expelling people of low income, people of low wealth, of low power, of no power, killing many people in many instances throughout the world. This has been going on because of our inefficiencies. You can see people still buying Jeeps and Wranglers that have not changed almost any from the mid-1980s, even the late 70s. A Jeep Wrangler looks about the same, and it probably has about the same power plant, same engine, with similar efficiency, give or take, a carburetor for a fuel injection, or whatever. The fuel efficiency remains about the same. The bodies of these trucks and the design has not changed much. They are still as inefficient as ever in aerodynamics, and this includes not only Jeep but the trucks from Ford, from Chevy, even Toyota. They are as inefficient in aerodynamics as they can possibly be. Trucks from the 1940s and 50s are probably more aerodynamically efficient than trucks are today. They used to be more round and more smooth that cut through the air a lot more efficiently in the 1940s and 50s than in 2023. And this has been verified. It is again sad and disturbing where we are today, where we have square bodied vehicles today still. Why don't we have bullet shaped trucks? Why don't we have bullet shaped or Dymaxion shaped cars? Why don't we have Dymaxion or bullet shaped or football shaped, tanker trucks or trailer trucks or rigs as they call them, 18-wheelers? Those, if any, vehicles should be the most aerodynamic vehicle out on the road, yet they're not. We still have the square box shaped bodies, shoebox bodies that we had in the mid 80s and 70s, even the 60s. Again, 1950s and 1940s trucks, look at them, search them out, have more efficiency than the efficiency in today. Thank you very much.